Prologue 2. The Singularity. Astro Family. On one end of the town, Jacob stood. The townspeople looked at Jacob with confusion, yet a slight tinge of fear. He was back. After a whole decade, Jacob was back. But something was off. The axe he was holding was bloody, covered in dust. He stood there, his head putting down with his furrowed eyebrows, his grip tightening on the handle of his axe as he stared down at the one place that ever held his attention, the Astral family home. Black goopy blood oozing through his axe and across his body. A massive, unnerving grin on his face and his eyes wide open. One thing was for certain. This isn't the same pacifist Jacob that he once was. No. Jacob was different. Too different. What happened within the decade he was gone? Hunter was at the front door, carrying two dead deer corpses in his arms before placing them down next to the door, before he looked past his shoulder as he saw Jacob. For a moment, Hunter was happy to see Jacob, but his instincts were uneasy. His gut was telling him that something wasn't right. Hunter squinted his eye sockets, the black goopy with blood. Unsure what that even is. The grin, the expression. That's not a happy expression. It worried Hunter greatly. William and Jack came through the door after having seen Jacob through the window. At first, Jack rushed to Jacob, shouting, "Brother, go back!" But he was stopped when Hunter put his arm out to stop Jack. Jack turned his gaze to Hunter, questioning why Hunter was stopping him. "It's Jacob, after all. Their brother." Well, Hunter's expression was stern, suspicious, uneasy. He's got a bit too much there. The silence that followed Hunter's movement was unnerving. For a moment, Hunter just stared at Jacob cautiously. That is, until Hunter broke the silence. "William, keep Jack here. I'll see what's going on." Hunter commanded, his voice stern and fierce. Hunter turned to his wife, Evelyn, holding onto her hand gently as he said softly, "Say, sweet cake, I'll be back." Admittedly, Hunter was hesitant, hoping this was just a sick prank. But Jacob disappeared for a decade and now comes back like this. This couldn't be a prank. As much as Hunter wanted it to be. It might be a terrible prank, but at least it meant nothing bad would happen. Hunter turned his gaze to Jacob as he slowly approached his brother. His hand gripped to a fist, the elemental aura of the intermediate red mastery surging through his hand, and the aura of the intermediate orange mastery surging through his other hand. Hunter's instincts told him that this was going to be a battle, an outbreak, prepared to defend his home and his family, as much as he wished he didn't have to. Jacob's head, well pointed down, his eyes were now focused on Hunter as Hunter approached, stopping 3 meters away from Jacob. He stared down at his brother. The silence was deafening. They stared down between two brothers. No one said a word. They just looked at each other. Hunter, from his hands, already knows that what Jacob has been up to. He's aware of why he's here. All the whispers, notes, Posters and images hinted to this. He'd been agonizing over this meeting. Part of me was hoping he didn't have to meet Jacob again. That was extremely cruel to think. Of course, Hunter wants his brother back, just not in this way. Jacob stared down at Hunter, seeing the entire town. He couldn't just go and start slaughtering people. It's clear that Hunter was here to stand in his way. His grip on the axe tightened. Only one goal was in mind. Death. Proof. To get to the Astral Mother and finally grow strong enough. They needed to die. Yet, this wasn't going to be easy. Hunter is the strongest recorded monster currently, so this wasn't going to be easy. Jacob had to outmaneuver Hunter, outsmart him, and hope he could succeed. Jacob's expression, fierce with murderous intent. Hunter, looking down, somber look before looking back at Jacob. His expression wasn't one of anger, but one of regret. He doesn't want to do this, but he must, for his family. And so, the fight began. Section 1. Hunter versus Jacob. The sky shifted. A dark black mixed with a light blue.
I thought there, keep
A
on.
dark. Oh god. A dark black mixed with a light blue filled the air, like an apocalyptic atmosphere. Then, the clash. Hunter and Jacob rushed at each other, as Jacob dragged his hand along the ground. The ground beneath Hunter began to crack, as blooded bones were shot out of the ground, diagonally attempting an assault onto Hunter. Hunter dashed backward skillfully, before forming a concrete wall that stood at 6 meters high in front of him to separate them both. The bones reek of blood and disease, as if they hadn't been cleaned, even though the bone manipulation required no cleaning. What's happened to Jacob's magic? It feels unstable, abnormal. No time to think about that right now. Jacob's out for blood and dust, and Hunter had to stop him. Jacob stopped his dashing, looking up at the wall. Without any hesitation, the novice purple mastery began its work. Purple smoky aura began enveloping Jacob's legs as he kneeled himself down to prepare for a massive jump. Leaping up into the air as he jumped over the 6-meter wall, gripping his axe fiercely. In midair, he had two spiked blood bones at Hunter before landing on the ground, slamming his axe into the floor. Hunter stood there as two long bones appeared in his hands, these bones possessing an orange glow around them, showing that these bones were strengthened by the intermediate orange mastery. Hunter used those bones to strike horizontally from right to left at one of the incoming blood bones while dodging the other. As Jacob landed on the ground, Hunter threw the long bone on his left hand straight to Jacob's shoulder. As the contact caused Jacob to recoil his shoulder back in pain. Hunter stood there, a look of stumbling regret, but also determination. Talk to me, Jacob. What happened? We can help you. A dangerous meteor came crashing down from the sky. a meteor that seemed to be covered in a black and light blue energy of some kind. It crashed into the inn next to Hunter before it somehow lifted up and threw itself back into the sky. Jacob grinned maniacally as he gripped his axe tightly. As he assaulted Hunter once more, Jacob swung his axe horizontally at Hunter's waist, trying to strike at the waist, but Hunter only just dodged the strike before he swung his intermediate orange mastery-powered longbow vertically at Jacob's head. Jacob remained silent. I replied Hunter's words. His focus was obsolete. Absolute. Alright. Fuck. Right. Jack, William, and Millie remain in the Astromet family home, as well as Evelyn and Hunter's daughter, Ava. Jack stood there, a look of pure shock and desperation, wrapping his hands around his mouth as if to accentuate his words when he shouted, "Jacob, Hunter, don't fight. There's another peaceful way to end this." Jack moved his hands to his chest, holding his hands collapsed sadly on his chest, his eyebrows furrowed, and his frown slight, yet speaking boldly about his emotion on the situation. "Jacob, please, let us help you." William just stared at it, as he said calmly,
I don't think he's going to listen. And something's going on with the sky, and that meteor. Whatever it is, I have to help Hunter. From what I can observe, Hunter is fighting defensively in the hopes of not doing too severe damage to Jacob. But Jacob, on the other hand...
William looked at Jack.
Jacob is fighting to kill. At that rate, Hunter may lose. I can't let that risk continue on.
William turned his gaze to Millie as he said softly yet fiercely, a soft and gentle command.
Stay here. Don't move.
William then dashed straight towards Jacob, his legs moving rapidly to try and reach the battle. Meanwhile, Jacob manipulated his body to move himself to the side, easily dodging Hunter's strike before Jacob shoved its axe into Hunter's abdomen, having used the opening to strike Hunter. Gotcha. Little Ava immediately forced herself out of Evelyn's grip as she shouted with pure panic in her voice,
Papa!
Without any hesitation, she sprinted to Hunter, horrified and desperate not to see Hunter hurt at all. Evelyn panicked at the sight of Hunter's injury, and her panic only grew when she saw Ava running up to Jacob, the main threat right now.
Ava!
She shouted at the top of her lungs as she sprinted up to Ava. In the distance, the moon blew up into pieces as they all started coming down onto Alpha Tail like many small meteors, as these pieces lit up on fire upon entering Earth's atmosphere. Along with these meteor pieces were the same black and blue light energy meteor, coming down with a force and fierceness, one after another. These pieces crashed onto the entire area, creating craters and broken buildings, rubble of dirt, stone, and the bricks of various buildings shattering. People running around in panic screamed for their lives, not knowing how or why this was happening. Jacob grinned maniacally as he showed his shoved his axe out of Hunter. Hunter, in reflex, groaned in pain as he gripped onto his abdomen, dust pouring out of the injury like a waterfall. Hunter felt his own magic struggling to keep up, his own magic beginning to pour out. Hunter struggled to keep himself upright, struggling to approach Jacob. Though, as Jacob gripped onto Ava and Evelyn, his free hand glowed with a purple aura as he placed his hand over Evelyn and Ava. The anti-magic working as it visibly started to drain their magic. Hunter screamed in panic, his eye sockets widening as he shouted, "No!" The sight was horrific. The brother he essentially cared for since Hunter was a little skeleton, now draining the magic and life out of his own wife and daughter. Hunter tried to move himself towards Jacob, summoning a long bone to act as a walking stick. But Hunter was interrupted by William. Section 2. Jacob versus William. William bolted, summoning an alpha blaster to fire at Jacob as the beam made contact with Jacob, throwing Jacob into the wall of hospital, breaking the wall entirely as Evelyn and Ava were freed from Jacob's grasp. William looked at Hunter with a fierce focus as he spoke.
Rhoda's lab. It has alpha blasters. Grab them. You need it. I'll hold off Jacob. Just go!
Hunter shook his head as Hunter spoke. No, I'm not leaving my wife and daughter. Hunter's voice came out raspy and growling, a byproduct of Hunter's fading magic. William was quick to respond.
It might be too late for Evelyn and Ava. Jacob's anti-magic power is draining their magic and life. Hopefully Rhoda's lab has something. Just go! I can do this!
William grinned confidently, staring down at Jacob. Hunter nodded as he said, in Evelyn and Ava's direction, I'll be back. I promise we'll get through this. Though Hunter hoped for a response, Evelyn and Ava couldn't respond. Their bodies severely drained of magic, and with monsters being made of magic, Evelyn and Ava were nearing their demise. This only fueled Hunter even more, driven by the need to bring back his wife and daughter. He ran off, albeit slower due to the injury, whilst losing the longbone walking stick into the lab, holding onto his injury, trying to keep himself up while he sorted out the alpha blasters. Through the gap in the hole, William saw the black and light blue meteor, but he didn't at the same time. For a split second, it looked like he saw himself, or with some kind of circuit lines on his face. They both locked eyes for a moment before that other version of him shot out a light blue beam from his eyes as it made contact with William. William recoiled back fiercely, being thrown to the other side of the path, rubbing his head as he wondered what the hell happened. With William incapacitated, Evelyn and Ava's bodies faded away in a sparkle of purple light, fading to the anti-magic of Jacob. Jacob then rushed to William to finish him off. Jack saw this and immediately started running after William, shouting, "Brother!" By the time William came to, he saw Jacob coming after him, and Jack running after him. Jacob swung his axe vertically at William, aiming for his chest, but the strike was blocked by William. summoning an Alpha Blaster to block the strike. The axe failing to pierce the skull of the monster as he yelled at Jack.
Stop! Get back!
The black and blue meteor continued to move everywhere as it threw itself back into the air before throwing itself into space again, crashing into Mars as the planet Mars blew up. Its pieces headed straight for Earth as the black and light blue meteor followed. Along with it, a black beam came out of this black and blue meteor. The beam forming a force field just in front of Jack unexpectedly, forcing him inside as the portal closed behind Jack. William's eyes widened, his pupils dilating as his breath caught in his throat as he screamed out in sheer panic and disbelief.
No!
Meanwhile, Hunter entered Rhoda's lab, searching its contents, desperately trying to figure out wherever the Alpha Blasters were. With dust falling out of his waist like a dusty waterfall, he saw a set of double doors with a sign above them. Rhoda's office. It had to be in there. It couldn't be in any other place. It had to be in there. He ran in there, only to find a book on Rhoda's desk. He walked to the other side of the desk and opened the book. The book began glowing as symbols appeared in the book. Energy began coming out of the symbols as it gripped Hunter. Immediately, his waist injury was healed. Hunter's stomach was lifting up into the air as he said in reflex, "What the fuck?" His words were cut off when he was forced into the book before the book closed itself. With that, Hunter was gone. Millie couldn't continue standing around like this. She had to act. Immediately, she pointed to the woods as she shouted to everyone in the town.
Woods! Run into the woods! You can hide in there! Go, go, go!
With everything happening, unmistakably the end of the world, no one argued with Millie. They all followed her words as they started running into the woods. Millie, trying to help as much as she can. She doesn't want to fight, and she refuses to. Yet, at the same time, maybe she should fight. She pushed the door away as she continued to evacuate the town, no matter how helpless it seemed. William dashed out as he fired his Alpha Blaster at Jacob. Jacob utilized his purple mastery to his arm and empowered Jacob's physical strength as he used his axe to strike at the side of the Alpha Blaster, shifting the Alpha Blaster's aim to William as it fired, its beam shooting at William. Then, a blue energy beam came out of the black and blue meteor as a portal appeared behind William. Jacob followed William into the portal as it disappeared. Similarly, a light blue beam of energy also hit Millie as she fell unconscious from the hit, the flicker of a light blue outline surrounding Millie's body. The black and blue meteor, striking everywhere, were destroying things left, right, and center. Beams of energy coming out of the meteor, striking at distant stars and planets as billions of stars blew up in a supernova minutes later, but also instantly, as if the black and blue energy was breaking the reality of the AU. The black and blue energy collided, mixing together as the feedback started to grow. Timelines started to collapse in on each other. When people were running into the woods, they collapsed to their knees and immediately started praying before they were all vaporized. And the ending of it all? A large black and blue energy wave that shattered the entire planet. Nay, the AU itself, destroying everything in its path. All but one person.